Good morning, Predicted Trades family. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody had a good day yesterday. So, a quick review of yesterday. We had that drip that happened pre-market yesterday, putting us near our squeeze bottoms when we opened. We fought up to VWAP, but rejected it repeatedly. And we lost that 42.73, so down to the next level, 42.60, which pretty much, was where we bounced. We did wick a hair lower to 42.55-ish. But once back above that 42.60, started a nice climb into that FOMC 2 p.m. release. You can see it just wicked back to that 42.73 on that FOMC release and then took off to 4,300, getting a hair above to about 43.05, but rejecting. You could draw a slightly tighter trend line like this. That would have given you a warning once we got up there. We're at trend line from these highs. Could reject. We did reject and headed right back down to 42.73. I know we hit those 4,300s on SPX from like $1.50 to $7, I think they were at the highs. And then I know some folks hit the 42.85s, 42.80s on the way back down. And this morning, we started with a little bit of a gap down, but we tagged that 42.60 overnight. I actually woke up midnight and checked on the market because I do that, and I was like, oh, look at that, we're tapping 42.60 again. But we caught our bounce right back up to the top of this 1 hour squeeze. We've got a 1 hour and a 4 hour squeeze that have formed around us. And that 4 hour squeeze bottom sits around 42.50, where our daily 8 has now caught up above the top of that 4 hour squeeze, back at the highs of this week and at that daily 200, which has pretty much caught up to this 43.18 level of ours. Real quick, take a quick look at the economic calendar. Come on. Scroll down. Jeez. Man, I don't know why, but my Chrome is very slow and laggy today. Jeez. Well, but basically we have jobless claims today at 8:30. Whenever it scrolls down to show us. Tomorrow, I don't think we have much coming out. God, come on. So yeah, we have jobless claims at 8:30 today. Manufacturing index, Philadelphia. And yeah, tomorrow, not much going on. So, get this Chrome out of here. It's going too slow today. So as you can see, we're already getting to that trend line pre-market in the top of our 1 hour squeeze. Wouldn't be surprised to see us reject this 1 hour squeeze, come back down to this 42.73 during the cash session, maybe even down to these squeeze bottoms in the daily 8 for a tap before heading higher. But we've seen plenty of times where we're up near these squeeze tops at open. We push on past them and tag some things first. But overall, our range is set with this 1 hour squeeze for open and this 4 hour squeeze for how the day can progress. Let's see if we just keep trucking over this trend line from the highs, or if it starts a little bit of a pullback before we open. We do have jobless claims coming out at 8:30, so we got a little bit of time to see if we pull back. But overall, we're holding up well, holding up to key levels. As long as we're above this 42.60 and this daily 8, going to be looking mainly long, right? And sometimes I'll short back to it if we do look weak and start to fall, but above 42.60, still very bullish. You can see over here on our 4-hour with our moving averages, that 4-hour 21 still pretty much sits at our 42.73. The 4-hour 45 has stepped up a little from our 42.32 level. It's now around 42.42. Just as some targets if we start to lose 42.60. Should we lose that 42.60, we've got that 4-hour 45 around 42.42, and then 42.32, the next key level on the way down. Should we give out that 42.60? Should we continue to hold? Pushing through that trend line from the highs through 4,300 where we topped out yesterday, 43.05. With the goal of getting back to this daily 200 and the top of this 4-hour squeeze, then this little zone. Plus, we have this trend line, which is the trend line from high of year. If we zoom out, you can see back in January's high and in March's high. If you connect those, they are very close to where we are now. And if we get up to this zone and retest that 42.75, we'll basically be tapping that trend line. If we break through that, the next zone above and that third Keltner is the target on ES. Alright, let's go to NQ. And for those of you tuning in, we'd appreciate if you smack that like button, just like Pine Web just said. Alright. On NQ, I would do the same of putting in a little trend line from the highs. As you can see, already starting to break through a little bit. We have this 1-hour squeeze top that could give us some resistance, cause us to dip back down to retest this 13,462, where that daily 8 has now caught up. We did a great job overnight of holding yesterday's low. But we are setting in lower highs, right? So we need to be cognizant of that. If we reject this 1-hour squeeze top and start coming down, really want that 462 to hold with that daily 8. If we start to slip down to pre-market low, yesterday's low, and tap the bottom of the squeeze, then we're starting to set progressively lower lows, right? We did a good job of holding yesterday's low, kind of setting a higher low overnight. If we do come down here to test and start setting a lower low, and our bounces get weaker and start rejecting the daily 8, going to be looking for that breakdown, right? 13.3, POC is sitting kind of right above the daily 15 for NQ. On ES, POC stepped up to 42.71. So right near that 42.73 level that we had on ES. So POC has stepped up to where we were basically consolidating yesterday. meaning a good amount of volume came in yesterday to try to defend those levels. It's a good sign for upside. On NQ, if we can get through this squeeze top, looking to get back to yesterday's high, this week's high, and the top of this 4-hour squeeze around 750, right? The goal is 750. If we can get past that, got a zone up above at 830, 840. But yeah, we can get there on an ATR. So look at the ready. So NQ and the ready made it back to their daily 8, holding it overnight, setting a higher low. Good sign. I'd maybe connect kind of like that. Just to have potential trendline resistance if we get going up above that 2015. We got our nice 1-hour squeeze there to give us some guidance. Let's see if the ready can get back over 2000, 2003. As you can see, that low from Tuesday became resistance yesterday. So we need to get back through that 2003, back over that daily 200 and try to push off of it in a bid to get back to this week's highs and, like 2045, 2050. And, want to see us hold 1990, the bottom of the squeeze. Definitely that daily 8, but we could slip it to tap the squeeze and set a higher low from yesterday's low. If we start to break this squeeze down and yesterday's low, let's see, POC is still down at 1910. And that daily 21 is at 1926. So we got some targets to the downside if we do fire this 1-hour squeeze down. YM continuing to stay above this daily 200 now that it is above it. Let's go ahead and get our trend line. And let's see about another trend line here. Come on. Look at that. I noticed this pattern over here of higher lows. You connect that trend line and look at where we're bouncing pre-market or overnight. So YM in a very nice wedge, and that 1-hour squeeze pretty much at the top and bottom of that wedge. Let's see if YM, now that it's back above that little bounce point, we talked about this in yesterday's prep, how on Tuesday everything pulled back to April highs. So I marked the pullback spots. Let's see if we can stay above that 3415 or 34,000. Push through this trend line to get back to the highs around 250. If we reject this squeeze top and come down, want to see this trend line hold. We can maybe reach outside it to tap squeeze bottom and this daily Keltner. Don't really want to get as low as the 200, but let's see if trend line or squeeze bottom can hold us up. If we do see a little profit taking on this gap up, if we can bounce at that trend line and get up to squeeze top, get through trend line, Looking to get up to that 250 if we break trend line and start to push below the daily 200. That will kind of be our sign to go short. We got the daily 8 down below at that 667. We've got POC still way down at 32.7. Yeah, so POC way down here. And our daily 21 stepping above our 32,900. In fact, it's just a hair below 33,000. Should we start to break down? Here's some of our targets to the downside. Apple, Apple, Apple. Apple continuing to remain strong. It, pushed higher yesterday as compared to like the indices that we just looked at that set highs on Tuesday and lower highs yesterday. Apple is pushing for more. Mark this little trend line because I noticed that those lows are kind of following a pattern, so I connect them and that's what I get. Let's see if that trend line can hold if we take a dip, looking for 73 to hold. Apple technically gapping down just a little while the market's gapping up. So let's see if Apple can stay above 173.5, this trend line. If it starts to slip it, want to see that 172.11 hold at the bottom of the squeeze and get right back up above that 173.5 with the goal of getting back to 175, 176 up at the top of these squeezes. But if we start to break down and start to lose our 172, 171, that daily 8 should actually be right at that 171.31 today. So if we start to lose that, we do have POC still down below at 165. And this daily 15 will be stepping up around 168. AMD. Come on. There we go. AMD chips were weak yesterday. They fell down, sat. When FOMC happened, they started to pop up, but didn't really take off. And kind of rejected their highs of day, right? So chips a little weak, but trying to hold this 98 level. We got a little zone here from 98 to 99.23. So let's see if this zone can provide support. See if AMD can push back through the top of the zone, through 100, where POC sits at 170. And start to snap back to, this consolidation around 101. But if we can't get going and it starts to lose 98 and these trend lines from the lows of yesterday and overnight, likely going to roll back to this 96 where that daily 21 is sitting for AMD. Oh yeah, and good point. Pinewood Apple has that new product cycle release in September. Definitely something to watch for. Frankly, with the Tesla split we have next week and that Apple product line coming out in September, wouldn't be surprised for a reversion to the mean before the end of the month. For them to kind of reset some things and, ramp back up. Yeah, and another point I'd also maybe bring up is if we remember a couple of years ago when Apple and Tesla split, in August, we dealt with a downturn in September, October, right? So, not saying history always repeats itself, but we have yet again a Tesla split right near the end of August, right after tech has gone on a very strong run to the upside, right? So, just something to keep in the back of your head. Let's see, Amazon, kind of weak yesterday as well. Dropped down to the daily 8 and just sat there, got going off of FOMC. Let's see, it came back, but it is gapping up with the market, unlike Apple that was slightly gapping down. I think I remember some folks in the room swinging those 145s again. I feel like you guys have swung those a couple of times. But overall, let's see if Amazon can stay above 142. That daily 8 will be stepping up a little bit near that. Probably near this little pre-market wick here. So let's see if that pre-market wick 142 can hold if we have a little dip on this gap up. But ultimately looking for Amazon to... It's kind of getting through trend line from highs already. And if we can get through that 143.38 high from yesterday, ultimately the goal is getting back to this daily 200, this 145, the top of the squeeze, and this week's high. If we can push past that, 148, 150, up above is the target. If we come back and start to lose 142, that daily 8, we'll be coming down to the squeeze bottom around 140. Should we start to lose that, we have the daily 21, which will be down near 135.5-ish. POC did step up to 142.69. And yeah, actually yesterday it was about the same, 142.70. So POC has stepped up right near us. Let's see if we can push off of POC, get back to this daily 200 at the top of the squeeze, and try to push through. BA was weak yesterday, got down to the daily 8 and 15. We got a 4-hour squeeze in place. We kind of need BA to hold these moving averages and push off of them and recover yesterday. If BA continues to look weak and starts to lose this 166 and a half, 166 pocket, yesterday's low, that daily 15. If we start to lose that on BA, we can roll back to the mean, which sits in between these key levels below. And, BA carries a lot of weight, so if it starts to break down, we'll probably see the market breaking down as well. Cat. Looks like it open and wick down right near our key level, bounced up, came back again and tagged our key level, and then bounced up. Holding up nicely. Let's see if Cat can continue to push through this week's high to get back to that Psych 200 level. And that daily 200 and third Keltner, which sit up above. If we start to lose this 193, coming right back to that 189 where the daily 21 and daily 50 sit. Google in a pretty clear down channel. Got back to its daily 8 yesterday. Kind of a weak close, dumping down near the lows. But it is gapping up with the market. And I basically want it to hold yesterday's lows around 1950. Stay above that daily 8. If we can push off that and get trucking. We need to get through some of these highs around 121, where the top of this 1 hour squeeze sits, with the goal of getting back to this week's highs and the top of this 4 hour squeeze. In our daily Keltners at 123.25 and 126 up above. If we start to lose that 19.5, this squeeze bottom, likely coming back to the daily 21 around 117. POC did step up to that 119.5. So let's see if POC can give us a bounce and get Google back up through this week's high. For GS, decent little ramp yesterday after sitting. Didn't really drop too hard. Didn't need to come down to this daily 8. But it is in a number of squeezes. So let's see if GS can stay above 350 in a bid to get back up to this high of week 358 and 360 up above. If we start to lose 350, this daily 8 around 348, we've got our moving averages below, daily 200 at that 343, and POC still sitting down at 334, right near that daily 21 on GS. Well, we got a nice trend line that has been carrying us up. Kind of went sideways through it yesterday. Let's see if GS can pop back up above it. Trying to push through this week's high to get to that 125.36 near that third Keltner. If we start to lose yesterday's low and the squeeze bottom, likely coming back to the daily 8. If we slip through that, the daily 21. Right below at 117, and POC is at 115, kind of near that daily 50. Meta definitely weak yesterday, closing below that daily 8. So let's see if we can get through this trend line from the highs that it's kind of at pre-market, get back above that daily 8 around 176 in a bid to push back to, you know, this 178, 180 where this consolidation happened. But if it continues to look weak and starts to lose yesterday's lows, overnight lows, can't get through trend line, likely coming back to the daily 21 at 172. At least POC is up above at 180 after all this consolidation, near 180, right? So let's see if POC being above can get this to start moving back to the upside. Microsoft. Microsoft about made it to the daily 8 yesterday. That'll be stepping up in the bottom of the squeeze around 289. Let's see, 291. A little bit of a gap up, not that huge. But we do have squeezes stacking up around us. So let's see. This one's not going to be the cleanest, but I think that's a good spot. Come on, there we go. So let's see if we can get through the trend line from the highs, push into these squeeze clouds back to that daily 200 and this week's high. If we start to lose trend line from yesterday and overnight's lows, we'll start to push to the squeeze bottom at daily 8. If we start to lose that and push through these squeeze bottoms, we've got the daily 15 down below, kind of near that 285. We've got POC at 291. So basically where we're at. So let's see if POC can hold us up and push us into these squeeze clouds. Or if POC gives out and we start to slip back to the daily 8. Daily 15 around 285. Daily 21 going to be around 281.5-ish. Netflix was also kind of a weaker name yesterday. But it is gapping up nicely. Actually kind of printed a little higher than yesterday. We've got that daily 8 there for support. So let's see if this, 240, 241 can hold Netflix up and get it to bounce through. There we go. That little trend line. So we basically got a nice little wedge. If we can get north of 244, 245, we can try to get back to 250 and to that third Keltner up near 256. Nvidia. I feel like they came out again yesterday and said they had to update for even crappier guidance, so I'm not surprised to see that it was weak yesterday. Basically if we can get back above this daily 8, start to push through some highs like this 186, we can try to get back to 190. And the top of this daily squeeze around 196. But if we start to lose 182, likely going to come down and hit that daily 21. But we do have, POC up at this 188. So let's see if it is enough of a magnet to pull back up to that 188 and maybe push through. QQQ. Oh, come on. There we go. On QQQ, I drew this zone of support. We did kind of tear through it yesterday to tag that daily 8. But pre-market, we're trying to get back above and hold that zone. So let's see if that zone can provide enough support to get us through this trend line and start trucking back up to this week's highs. Get us back over 330. But if this trend line keeps us down, likely going to take another dip to yesterday's lows, this daily 8, to try and build energy and find buyers to push through that trend line. If we start to lose the daily 8 and the bottom of these squeezes around yesterday's lows, then we can slip on down to that daily 15, which will be stepping up kind of near 324, which is where we have POC on QQQ. So we got POC down here, pretty much where this Keltner was yesterday. So that if we start to, lose yesterday's lows, likely coming down to hit that POC, and that daily 15, that'll be stepping up near it. Below that, the daily 21 has finally caught up to this 318 key level. Roku, yeah, not really in any interest. Weak yesterday, sold straight down, and pretty much stayed down there. Not loving this name lately. Shop, same. right? Just steady downtrend. Likely on a journey to this daily 50, right near these recent lows. Not showing much relative strength. So now kind of the same. Made it back to the daily 21 though. So, I draw a trend line from your highs. If we can start to break through that, you might see a decent move. SPX. Oh man. And this is also why we mark our gaps, right? When the day starts and SPX opens, I definitely recommend marking those gaps. Because you can see we did not quite fill that gap yesterday. Did a great job holding that daily Keltner right at around 42.60. Slipped it just a hair, but then pushed off of it. You can see the close and open of those two candles right at it. So today, dealing with a teensy gap up. Going to be right near this gap fill, right near where we opened yesterday. So let's see if we can push to complete filling this gap. I mean, you could pretty much call it that the gap was filled, but not quite. So let's see if we can get up, push through this 4,300, back to this daily 200, up at 43.24. If we start to lose that 42.60, we got the daily 8 down at that 42.35. And we've got a little gap zone down to this 42.18. SPY, pretty much at POC, 426.67, so just a little bit above this 426.36 key level. You can see on SPY yesterday, just like our level on ES, this was very key. We rejected it and came down to this daily Keltner for a bounce. Then we pushed off of it, then we came right back to it. So key level, looking like that economic data came out, having a little pullback, not surprising because we have our squeeze top. So let's see if that 426.36 can hold. And POC, which is sitting right near there. See if we can hold those two and start to push through. Trend line from highs. No, don't freeze on me. Okay, well, we'll wait for that to wake up. If we can get through trend line from the highs, get through this 428. Got that 428.86 up above that we rejected yesterday. And if we can get through that 431.54, where that daily 200 has now caught up to. We also have the top of that 4-hour squeeze there. All right. Just drawing a little trend line here and there. There we go. So, as you can see on Qs, we got a little wedge. We've got our squeeze, 1-hour squeeze, providing a nice range that will be opening in. Should we start to lose this 425, yesterday's low, likely coming down to this zone below at 422.82 to 423.53, where that daily 8 is now stepping up and our 4-hour squeeze bottom sits. Let's just go to Tesla. Tesla got down near 900 as a gift so that those 950s could get to $3. We hit those 950s. Oh, what, 3 to 5 or 6, I believe. Morning, D-Force. I know you were hitting those with us. So Tesla was decently strong off that 900, getting back above that 918, and almost to 930, and these hit these squeeze tops and pulled back with the market. Going to be opening near 918. It looks like POC is sitting down at 900. We still got our daily 200 here at about 907, 908. So if we reject this 918 and come back, want to see that daily 200 hold at the worst, the bottom of the squeeze, 900, where POC sits, want to see that hold. And looks like the daily 8 is also going to be stepping up there. So would like to see all that hold if we do take a dip. But if we can push through 918, it's 930, 940, 44, with the goal of getting to 965, 980, where that third Keltner sits. Tesla has a split next week. This is the last weekly option expiration before that split. Obviously, you can play next week's strikes, but after Thursday, they're going to be 3 to 1. So, and VIX. Let's see, VIX did get down to through that gap yesterday. So the gap has been filled. It popped back up. It's been on a fade overnight. Almost back to this 20. But you know, we're starting to get some sideways movement at this 20. So it could be a base forming on VIX, something to keep an eye on. Although it is kind of, VIX is being a little wacky with how it's gapping around. But all these squeezes getting tighter and tighter and tighter on VIX. Not loving that, because if we're really going to get any more upside, VIX needs to get down to test 19 at the bottom of these squeezes. This daily squeeze just keeps opening up. So for today, if we're going to see strength to the upside in the market when we open the bell, I'm going to need to see VIX get down below 20 and fade down to 19.5. Need to see it give out 19.5 to really keep pumping in the market to get up to the daily 200. Likely need to get down to about 19. But if we're going to reject squeeze tops, go back to lows on the market, and if we start losing them, then we'll likely see VIX hold 20, start to push through 20.5, where it topped out yesterday, and a bid to get back to 21 at the top of these squeezes, where that daily 15 sits, and that daily 21 catching up to about 21.5. But, you know, as we've seen, VIX can just do a little bit of movement and we can rip, right? Like this was Tuesday when we got up to the daily 200. So, well, let's see if we can kind of get another repeat of Tuesday where it rejects 20, 20.5, and fades on down to 19.5. But that's it. Hopefully this was helpful for everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We shall see you guys all in the chat room. Oh, and it's Thursday. So if you're new to Predicted Trades, this is your first time tuning in, you can find a link to our website in the description of this video, a link to our Discord also. on our website, and I think in this video description. You can join our Discord for free, and every Thursday is free day where we migrate our paid live trading room into our free chat room so that everybody can get a taste and kind of test run our system before they sign up. So every Thursday you can join us. We will be trading in the free room. I will be providing a copy of our tool, which will work on all of your options charts for SPYs, Qs, Apple, AMD, and Microsoft. So I'll give you 5 tickers for free for you to test out our system and putting our beast levels on your options charts. But thanks for tuning in. We'll see everybody in the chat. Good luck today.